Hello, and welcome to the class of 2024. We are so excited to have you with us today for your Proud Adventure. My name is Nicole Giglia, and I'm the Associate Director for Student Life. But today I'll be serving as your moderator for the Peer Advisor panel. The peer advisors will share a little bit about themselves and are here to answer any questions about life as a student at Seton Hall. Please feel free to send us questions in the chat box on the right side of your screen. So let's kick things off by meeting Miles Douglas. Miles?
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Miles Douglas. I am a rising senior here at Seton Hall. I am from Gonzales, Louisiana. And what brought me here to Seton Hall was just the amazing opportunities we have in regards to the great academics, the internships, and just a really great opportunity to get to know yourself as a person. Now I'd like to pass it on to Miss Anne-Marie Ryan.
Hi everyone, my name is Anne-Marie Ryan. I am from Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. I am a rising junior, nursing major with a music minor. And the reason why I came to Seton Hall is because of the Bustino Leadership Institute and the nursing program. And both have been tremendous opportunities for me in my education. And now I'm going to pass it off to Phil Nassisi.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Good morning, everybody. My name is Phil Nassisi. I'm going to be a junior this year. I'm from Staten Island, New York. I'm a secondary special education and history major. And the reason I came to Seton Hall is because it's sort of like a family tradition. My uncle went here and some of my cousins also went here. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Kyla Campbell.
Kyla, you are muted.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Kyla, and I'm a rising senior here at Seton Hall. I'm studying psychology following the Bachelor of Science track. I'm originally from West Windsor, New Jersey, just outside of Princeton, and I chose Seton Hall because it felt the most at home, and it wasn't too far from my actual home, so I can visit home when I want to.
Thank you, Kyla. And thank you to all our panelists for joining us today. You'll also have a chance to meet your own PA and first year advisor today at 1 o'clock for PA connections and registration. So be sure to check your Seton Hall email for that invitation. If you've already accepted the invitation, you should see a join link in the calendar tab of the Teams app. But for now, our first question is for Miles. Miles, what is a PA and what do they do to help first year students?
So we like to call PAs your student's first friend while on campus. So all you students will be able to meet your PA later today during your welcome and then during your PA connections. And so during that time, you'll really be able to just get to know your PA and know them as like a friend and have somebody you can trust on and count on. So your peer advisor will be with you while you are in your university life course, and we will be help student teaching that course. But then also we will be doing things with you outside the classroom. One thing that I do with my students is I always take them to our involvement fair, which is usually the first to second week on campus, where you get to really go out and find new clubs and see what you're interested in. I go eat with my students all the time. I'll go into town and just hang out with my students and just really be there and be a friend for them. And if they ever need somebody, that's what your peer advisor is there for. So we're a really great resource for you while you're here at Seton Hall, and we're really happy to have all of you here.
Thank you, Miles. Our next question is for Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, as an out-of-state student, what would you say has been the biggest adjustment that you had to make when coming to Seton Hall?
So definitely coming out of state, I didn't know anyone. When I came to Seton Hall, I'd never been that far east in the country, and I think that the hardest adjustment for me was definitely being so far from home. But something that really helped to me with that is really getting involved and meeting new people and just putting myself out there so that I could really embrace my home away from home, and it really has turned into that.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Our next question is for you, Phil. Phil, what is Seton Hall like on the weekends? What is there to do?
So definitely some of my peer advisor colleagues could probably attest to this. During the week, especially if you're involved in multiple things, get a little hectic, like you're running around from place to place, you have meetings to get to, you obviously have class. On the weekends, I think it's more relaxed vibe. Like for me personally on the weekends, I love just getting my homework done, just hanging out with my friends. We'll go out into the village and get something to eat. On some weekends, we'll go to the city. It's like a 20-minute train ride to the city, so that's always fun. There's definitely a lot to do on weekends, and it's something to look forward to after like a long week of class.
Thank you, Phil. Kyla, this question is for you. Is there really a big difference between high school and college coursework? And if so, what are some tips you have for managing that adjustment?
Yes, I would say that there is a decent difference between high school coursework and college coursework, and I would recommend devoting a lot of time to studying and devoting your time evenly throughout the week. So saying that you can study 1 or 2 hours on Monday and then 1 or 2 hours on Tuesday, and then saving it rather than saving it for just all one day. Yes, but there is definitely a big difference, and I would recommend spreading out your time and using an agenda or using your Outlook tool to prioritize your schoolwork.
Thank you. Phil, this next question is for you. If a student is interested in changing their major, or if they're undecided and will need to declare, what are some steps that they should take in order to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, my freshman year, I wanted to be a business major. I was big into like working on Wall Street. I had an internship in the city. So I just was like pretty dead set on that. And like as it went on, like I just didn't really enjoy it anymore. I wanted to be, excuse me, I wanted to be go into education. So what I did was I set up a meeting with my first year advisor, who every student's gonna like find out today who their advisor is if you haven't been in contact with them already. You'll go into their office, you'll sit down with them, you'll tell them like, hey, I'm not feeling whatever major I was doing, I want to switch to something else. They right there on the spot can switch it for you. And the process is pretty simple. I just had to go get a signature from somebody in the education department just to confirm that I was switching majors, and then it's as quick as that. And like a week later, I started all my new classes for my new major. So it's a pretty easy process. I know it's like a really stressful thing, changing your major, but thankfully Seton Hall does it pretty well.
Thanks, Phil. And you bring up a great point that your first year advisor is really going to be the most helpful for you with these kinds of conversations. Okay, Kyla, we have some questions about students who are commuters. How can they get involved on campus?
Sure. So as a commuter student, there are a lot of opportunities for you to get involved if you are not dorming and you're not on Seton Hall's campus 24/7. There's a bunch of different clubs and organizations that students can join, and we like to say that there is a home for everyone at Seton Hall. So if you're interested in anything from chess club to psychology club, you will find it something that you're interested in. Also, SAB holds, the Student Activities Board holds events throughout the weekends and also throughout the week where you can go and you can meet new people and you can have a really good time on campus. Thanks,
Kyla. Phil mentioned earlier that he loves to go into the city, but Anne-Marie, as someone who's not from the tri-state area, can you talk about how easy it is to get into New York City from the Seton Hall campus?
Absolutely. So like I said, before coming to Seton Hall, I'd never been that far east in the country. And so the first time I actually went in to New York City was when I went to visit Seton Hall for the first time. And so it's super easy to get into the city. It's really not that far away. We have a shuttle bus that picks students up on campus and brings you down to the village. And in the village, you find the New Jersey Transit. You get on the train, it's about 30-40 minutes into Penn Station, and from there you can walk anywhere. I still don't take the subway because it freaks me out. I'm still not super into the city's life, but I love going into the city, and there's so much to do in there all the time, so it's fun to go on the weekend with friends or whenever you have a little bit of time on your hands. Just hop on the train and get into the city. It's super easy.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. And I know you're a big fan of Broadway. What's been your favorite show so far?
That's a big question. I've seen so many of them, but I would have to say from the ones I've seen recently, probably Dear Evan Hansen, or I just saw Aladdin on Broadway last year, so that was really cool too. I've also seen Hamilton, but that one I saw in Chicago, so not quite in New York. But
thanks, Anne-Marie. So we have some great questions coming in about life in the residence halls. And so just a quick note about that, students should have received an email last week about roommate selection. And also in that email, they noted that the halls are planning to open at a low density model, meaning that there will be no more than 2 students in a room. So be sure to check your Seton Hall email for directions on how to select your roommate through eRes Life. And the selection period will go until June 30th at 9 a.m. Eastern time. But let's hear a little bit more about what it's like to live in the residence halls. Miles, can you tell us from your experience, what is it like to live on campus?
So living on campus was probably one of the funnest experiences of my life. It was a great opportunity. I lived in Boland Hall, which is one of the freshman dormitories, and the other freshman dormitory is Aquinas Hall. But yeah, living on campus in one of those dormitories is a wonderful experience. So there's people there around your age that are the same year, and so everybody's in the same situation. And so it's really, when you first get there, it's a little awkward at first, but then you really get to know a lot of people, and everybody. There's a lot of people in your same situation that don't know a lot of people, or just as nervous as you coming into Seton Hall. But once you get to know these people, it's really a fun and a great experience. I used to go down to the Bowen Cellar, which is basically like a huge common area. They have ping pong tables, they have pool sticks, they have flat screen TVs and couches, and so it's just a really good time to just go in there, meet new people, and just really chill and have a really good time. That was one of my favorite things about living on campus. Another thing is that, well, when you live on campus, you have unlimited a meal plan, and you can go into the cafeteria as much as possible. And so that was personally one of my favorite things because I love eating. And so great opportunity to just go in there and just really, that's another place to go chill with your friends. But like one of the biggest things for me was there's something called TIR, which is Tutors in Residence, where you actually have tutors that live in the dormitory buildings. And so they have sessions where you can go in and have tutoring. And so that's where if I didn't know something about my homework or I was struggling with something, I would always go to the TIR that was in my building, and they would really help me learn some concepts I didn't understand in class.
Thank you, Miles. And as a follow-up, we have some students asking, was it easy for you to find a roommate? Did you pre-select someone or were you assigned someone?
So I was assigned a roommate because I didn't I didn't know anybody going into it, so I just went random, but I had a great experience with my random roommate. He's actually one of my best friends that I have right now. But I know so many people that have had the opportunity where they would go in and meet somebody on the Facebook page or something like that, and they found their roommates the same way. But the person that you are with, you're going to be around them a lot, and you will learn to just grow on them. And I personally love the experience of having a roommate.
Thank you, Miles. All right, Phil, we have some questions about internships. How would a student go about getting one, and when is it too soon, or should they start talking to the Career Center early on?
Sure. So I've had a couple of experiences with internships since I've come to Seton Hall. My first semester freshman year, I went to the career fair, which is a fair that's held, I believe, once a semester. I think they do hold it in the spring. And basically that's just a lot of companies from all over. Like there are companies out of state for the students that live out of state so they could intern when they go back home. And there's a lot of companies also that are from the city or throughout New Jersey. And what I did for that when I was still a business major was I just went around, talked to everybody, passed my resume around, and I eventually got an internship with a sports company. And basically they just reported sports news. So I did that for my fall semester, and that was my first semester in college. So when people say oh, it's too early, don't worry about it freshman year, that's not necessarily true. It is possible to get one that early. And as I switched to an education major, the internship process for there it's more of field placements. So Seton Hall will be in contact with the school in the New Jersey area, and then you go intern there for 60 hours a semester, just co-teaching a class. So it honestly depends on the major, how your internships go, but it's very accessible to get one at whatever semester you're in. It's really easy to get one, I would say.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Okay, Anne-Marie, as a nursing major, this question is for you. What is it like to take classes up at the IHS campus?
It's a great opportunity to be able to be at the IHS campus. The nursing majors are the only undergraduate students on that campus. So we are also with the graduate med students, PT, OT, PA students, and we do a lot of interprofessional education, which is kind of what sets us apart right now. And it's super important to have that because it kind of stimulates what it's going to be like in a hospital when you work with doctors and other healthcare professionals. Our labs and our classrooms are fantastic. Obviously, all of the facilities are very new. All of our equipment is up to date, so it's very similar to what you would see in the hospitals. And our simulation labs are super cool with our simulation dummies and things like that. And so it's really an awesome opportunity to be there. And once you get there, you see a lot of the same professors over and over again. And so you really build those relationships with them, and it really makes the experience that much better.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. And that goes really nicely into our next question for Kyla. What is it like to do research with a faculty member?
So I was fortunate enough to be able to work with a psychology professor in her research lab, and it was a really amazing experience. I was able to find this by being in her class, and then I reached out to her and I expressed interest in her work, and she was able to find a spot for me to be her research assistant for a semester. And it was an amazing experience. And the one great thing about Seton Hall is that there's always research going on. So if you're interested in research, you can find it basically in any major that you're in. So I highly recommend reaching out to a professor and looking up what their research is, and you can find that on their Seton Hall website on the faculty page, and you can look into whatever they're doing and reach out to them. Professors are more than willing to answer your questions and even have you in their labs, and it's a great opportunity.
Thank you, Kyla. And what kind of research have you been doing with the professor?
Sure. So the professor that I worked with, Dr. Lloyd, she is a cognitive psychologist. So we worked on stress and memory. So I was helping participants answer questions for a graduate assistant's honors thesis. So it was a really cool opportunity to work with students that I knew and help them with answering the questions and learning more about memory and stress. And it was really cool, the findings that we were able to find out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kyla.
Thank you.
All right, Miles, this next question is for you. How can a student get a job on campus?
So there are tons of jobs on campus, and there's a lot of ways to find them. I think one of the easiest ways is just simply to go to our Seton Hall webpage, and there's a whole section that has the listings of jobs for undergraduate students. And so that's how a lot of people find their jobs, is just literally Googling Seton Hall jobs, and there are tons of opportunities for different students to receive positions on campus. Another way is that a lot of positions, they have flyers, and they'll post it on bulletin boards all across the campus. So all you have to do is just literally, if you're going to the University Center, there are multiple poster boards over there. If you look on those boards, I promise you'll see a few flyers that have different positions and job openings that are somewhere around campus. Another thing you can do is just really ask a lot of your students that are on this campus, hey, do you have a job here? And if so, how they go about getting this position. And then I've referred people to the positions when I've had other positions on campus. I've referred them to my boss and tell them how to really get involved on campus or really get that position. And the last thing is, if you really want to, if you're really forward in trying to get a position, you can actually just go to the department itself that you want to work in and just say, hey, do you have any positions open right now? And then that just shows that you're really interested in what they're doing and that you would really want that position. So there are a lot of jobs on campus, such as desk assistants, working in the front, like a lot of office jobs. So if you really want to get a job on campus, it's really not as hard as you think it is, and there are a ton of positions for students.
Thank you, Miles. All right, so Phil, you mentioned earlier that we have the Shoe Fly, which takes you to the train station and some other different spots downtown in South Orange. Can you tell us what your favorite places in South Orange are? And we have a specific question about where to find some good food in South Orange.
Right. So I like a lot of the food places in the village right next to the campus. So I'll just like narrow it down to save everyone some time. My two favorite are definitely Tito's. And it's just if you like Chipotle, Tito's is like a better version of Chipotle in my opinion. And then Village Trattoria is a really good pizzeria. And like I take my pizza like very seriously. I'm from New York City, so I was very like hesitant to have New Jersey pizza, but I love it. I think it's really good. So yeah, if you want to go to two places, those places are really, I'd say, the best. And then also another note, you could use Pirates Gold, which is the currency that you put onto your card through your PirateNet account at some of the food places off campus. So like I know Tito's, I would go with my Seton Hall ID and I would have the Pirates Gold put on there and they would take that. So that's just always nice because it's good to spend that instead of cash, I would say.
Thank you, Phil.
Yep.
We have some great questions coming in about what physical distancing will look like in the fall in terms of the residence halls. And those are some great questions. I do want to give a plug for our parent orientation housing panel, which will be tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And you can find some more information on our Parent Pirate Adventure page. So be sure to look at that for some details about the housing panel. Kyla, we talked a little bit about the tutor in residence program, but I wonder if you can talk a little bit more about what other tutoring looks like on campus and maybe talk about the Academic Resource Center.
Of course. So the Academic Resource Center, also known as the ARC, is located in the Arts and Sciences Hall, and they are a source that you can go to if you have any questions about a class that you might be struggling in or a class that you might be doing great in. You just need to ask a question to a tutor. And the great thing about the Academic Resource Center is if they don't have a tutor for the class that you're looking for, they will find you one. And they are very willing to help you with any questions that you might have regarding any class. There's also the Tutors in Residence Hall, which Miles covered a little bit. And once again, those are located in Boland Hall and Aquinas Hall. And I just wanted to stress that even if you are a commuter student, these resources are open to you and are available to you. Any Seton Hall student can go into Boland and Aquinas Hall, even if you're not a resident, and get the tutoring services that are offered there. Another thing that I wanted to mention about the ARC is that they will also offer online services. So you can schedule an appointment for a class online, for a tutoring session online. And also one of the experiences that I was able to help with is within your department. Sometimes there are specific tutors. So for the psychology department, they send out emails and they have students within the program who are willing to tutor. So I know that that's how it is for other programs as well. So that's also an option.
Thank you, Kyla. All right, so Phil, you're going to be our food expert today. Can you tell us the difference between Pirate Bucks and Pirate Gold? And then also, we want to know what your favorite meal in the CAF is.
Gotcha. Okay, so Pirate Bucks is only for on-campus places. So right before you enter the cafeteria in the University Center, there's Jersey Mike's, there's a pizzeria, and then there's a little like express area where you get like salads and wraps and stuff like that. And then above that is the Pirate Bowl place, which is sort of like a buy a bowl if anyone's ever had that. And then Pirates Gold is used for like how I just said, like off campus. Like you can't use Pirate Bucks at Tito's Burritos, if that makes sense. It's a little confusing on how it works, but just Pirates Gold, you think off campus dining, and then Pirate Bucks is on campus. And then as for my favorite meal, when I'm in the CAF, I like the sushi. And like when I first heard that, I was a little like hesitant, like, oh, I don't know, like sushi at a college campus, but the guys there are really good. They're like professionals. It's like really amazing sushi. So I definitely recommend that. And then if you're using Pirate Bucks, so staying on campus to eat something, Jersey Mike's, it's right next to the cafeteria. It's really good. It's sort of like Subway, but I think it's a little better than Subway. So yeah, I give that my recommendation also.
Thanks, Phil. I think you
No
can
problem.
have your own South Orange Seton Hall food channel soon. All right. So Anne Marie, we have a student who's wondering what is the process for making an appointment with our mental health services, which we call the Counseling and Psychological Services at Seton Hall.
So the counseling services, or CAPS for short, they are located on the second floor of Mooney Hall, and you can walk into their office and make an appointment at the desk there, or you could also call in. I don't have the phone number on hand right now, but you can always reach out to your peer advisor and they can get that to you later on. But you can call the phone number and they can put you down for an appointment. And CAPS is a great resource. It's free for students. It's included in your tuition. So definitely utilize that resource if you're overwhelmed with classes, if you're overwhelmed with meeting new people on campus, or if you just need someone to talk to. Going to CAPS is a great way to talk through things and just have some support in that sense. And so it's definitely something that I suggest you do at any time, and you don't have to have a reason to go every time, but kind of going in there and having someone to talk to is really great. So again, you can walk up to the second floor of Mooney Hall and make an appointment in the office there, or you can give them a call. They also have a hotline that you can call when they are out of hours, and that comes in more for emergency situations, but it's also a great resource to have as well.
Thank you, Anne Marie. All right, Miles, can you talk a little bit about our rec center and your experience with rec sports?
Yes, I definitely can. So the rec is anybody can use it. So if you're a commuter or you live on campus, doesn't matter. You can go there and it's completely free. And there's a lot to do actually in our rec. So first, when you get into the lobby, all you have to do is have your SHU ID and you just swipe it in at the front desk, and then you can go in. And then as soon as you walk in, you'll see a huge gym, and there are 5 or 6 basketball courts. And considering we're at Seton Hall, I'm pretty sure you can imagine we're a huge basketball school. So you can go there at any time, and I promise you can find a pickup game or two to just join in. And during the hours of 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., it's completely packed the entire day of just people playing basketball, and it's a really good time. And then also we have an indoor track that's around the basketball courts. So if you're not a treadmill type of person, you can go into that indoor track, and it's still just as good. It's just as convenient if you ask me. And then if you walk past the basketball courts, you can go into our huge weights area. So we have 2 floors of weights. Downstairs we have a lot of treadmills and a lot of just different machines you can use. And then you go upstairs, then you have more machines, you have more treadmills, you have Smith machines, dumbbells. And then, so that's a perk of the gym. And then there's also a side room where they have, there's a studio. And so inside the studio, they have different classes that they hold. And so one class that they have in there is spin. And so you have about 25 bikes, and they have spin classes about 4 days a week. And then on the other side of the studio, they have other classes such as Zumba, they have HIIT, they have, and there's about 2 or 3 more other classes that they do. And every single day they have different classes that you can take. So if you're looking to get in shape, perfect place to go. And then downstairs, they also have a swimming pool. So it's a really, really nice pool area. It's huge. It's a Division I pool, so it's a really nice area over there. So there's a lot to do while you're in the rec. And it's also home to Walsh Gym, where our female basketball team plays and our volleyball team plays. And then in reference to the rec sports that we have, so we have football, flag football, volleyball, basketball, indoor soccer, and floor hockey. And so I can promise you each and every one of these sports, very, very, very competitive. A lot of people come out into it. But if you want to do some of the sports just for the fun of it, they have different leagues. So they have the A League, B League, and C League. A League is the best of the best. Then you have your C, where you're just there to really have fun. That's where I like to tend, is like the B and the C leagues, just because I like to chill and have fun with people. And then they have tournaments, and so the tournaments can get really competitive no matter what league you're in. And the winner gets a T-shirt and you get your team's picture posted on the rec Instagram page. Something I've been trying to do for 3 years now, so hopefully fourth year's a charm for me.
We will be rooting for you, Miles, to get that championship T-shirt. All right, so let's see. This question is for Kyla. If a student is interested in getting involved in Greek life, what is the process for them to do that?
Sure. So if you're interested in getting involved in Greek life, we mentioned this earlier, there's the involvement fair, and at the involvement fair, every club, every organization is on the green, so you can definitely go and meet with every Greek life option that there is. And that is a really good first step in meeting Greek life and starting to get acquainted with them. If you're interested in recruitment, there's a weekend recruitment process, and for sororities, and you can also get more involved with them through the tabling that they do on campus. So they do tabling throughout the whole semester, and that's also a really good opportunity for you to get involved with them and to meet them and to really understand their philanthropies and their organization as a whole.
Thank you, Kyla. All right, so Anne-Marie, what sort of study tips do you have for students in general, especially staying organized and dealing with time management? And is there anything specific you would say to our nursing students?
Yeah, so definitely time management is super important, especially if you want to get involved on campus. Academics are first and foremost. You're coming to school to be educated and to get a degree in whatever you're going for. But especially in nursing, in any major, but especially nursing, time management is super important. And we actually teach a lot of that in our classes because that'll carry over to your career as a nurse as well. But it's really important to just document everything you need to do, get it done as soon as you can, try your best not to procrastinate. I know we all like to do that sometimes. I like to do that sometimes, but if you really stay on your schedule and know that your education comes first, you'll do just fine. There's lots of people that you can reach out to that help with time management. You'll actually have a lesson on it as well in university life. So definitely make time to manage your time and really schedule yourself really nicely so that you don't get overwhelmed with your schoolwork and your activities and your social life, because you need to find that balance, especially in the first year.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Speaking of activities and getting involved on campus, Phil, how can a student go about joining clubs on campus?
Yeah, so we've talked about the involvement fair a couple of times. Like, I would say that's definitely the best way. My freshman year, I joined 2 clubs, and as I progressed throughout my sophomore year, I joined some honor societies for my major. I joined an academic fraternity, which is also sort of major based, but basically the way to do it, you go to the involvement fair, everyone will be lined up, talk to them oh, what's your club about? They'll say what their club does, what times they meet, all that. You put your email down, and then they'll send you an email, and they'll be oh, we're meeting tonight, just a reminder. And the good thing about clubs is that it's a really good thing to do with your free time, but they're not mandatory attendance wise. So if you can't make it, you could always miss a week, 2 weeks, and then come back, and there's no punishment for it. It's something to do for fun. And also another really thing about clubs is if you don't find a club for something you necessarily want to do that you're interested in, if you could find some other people that are interested in it, you could speak to the SGA and they will help you get that club started. So you can make whatever you want, whatever you're interested in, as long as there's other people willing to do it with you. Yeah, you're all set. I know one of my students last year, he plays spike ball, that game with the net on the floor, you bounce the ball off at the beach. And he didn't find a club for it on campus, so he wound up making his own club with some of his friends. So I just thought that was really cool, how easy it is to start your own club.
Thank you, Phil. Okay, Miles, so we want to know what it's like to attend a men's basketball game at the Prudential Center. Is it free for students? How do they get there? And what is the game day atmosphere like?
Oh, so that's probably one of the biggest, most exciting parts about coming to Seton Hall. I'm pretty sure, as everybody knows, we're pretty good at basketball, and so that's one of the things that people just go crazy here about. So on a game day, what typically happens is, well, before even game day, so we have student tickets, season tickets that you can purchase $100 for. And so if you buy these $100, if you buy the season tickets, what happens is you get a ticket for every single game, and then if you go to every single game, you can actually redeem that, and so you can get your entire $100 back. So it's an incentive to go to all the men's basketball games. But on a game day, what happens is the day before the game actually starts, you go on the Ships app. It's one of the apps that Seton Hall has, and you can actually download a ticket for the buses. And so I guess if you don't know by now, we actually play at the Prudential Center, which is in Newark. And so what happens is we get bused over there. And so the day before the game or the day of the game, what you can do is download a ticket, and for the buses, they're completely free for students. So you just get the ticket, and then the buses line up alongside the rec center, and they start leaving 2 hours before the game starts. You just show them your ticket, you get on the bus, and they'll bus you all the way to the Prudential Center. For me, arguably the bus ride is probably just as fun as the actual game. But at the game, it's such an electric environment. You can imagine just 10 to 15,000 people just going crazy and just all there to support one team, and it's the Seton Hall Pirates. And so game days, I promise you, electric atmosphere. Game days are amazing feelings, just getting pumped up for the games, especially night games. So yeah, if I could recommend anything, it's go to the Seton Hall basketball games. They're such an amazing time, and we promise you'll have a good time there.
Thank you, Miles. Anne-Marie, we have a few questions about how someone could join the dance or cheer team. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So we have the cheerleading team, and then we also have the Sapphires. So actually, my freshman year, I tried out for the cheerleading team. The tryouts were 2 days in the fall semester, and you go. Our cheer team is a lot of stunting based. So there's not a lot of jumping and dancing, but we do the fight song dance, and you learn a couple cheers, and you go in, you stunt with all the people trying out, and then you come back the next day and they kind of pair you up and you do it again. And I think our cheer team is about 18 girls, or people. We tend to usually have 1 or 2 guys on the team as well, so we can do some co-ed partner stunting. But it was definitely a really fun experience. Unfortunately, I didn't make the team my freshman year, and I found other activities to fill my time in the coming years, but they're super fun. And the Sapphires have a similar tryout when you learn their also the fight song dance for them as well, and they're more dance oriented. So if you're more into the dance side, I would suggest go for the Sapphires, but if you're more into the stunting, cheering, definitely the cheer team's for you. But they're definitely fun organizations to be a part of, and being a part of the school spirit is definitely something that I would suggest you do.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Okay, Kyla, what are some places on campus that commuters can hang out in between classes? And can you talk a little bit about how a student would get a parking pass? That's also another big question we have coming from our commuter students.
Sure, of course. So places that you can hang out on campus as a commuter, when I get asked this question, I automatically think about the University Center. So the University Center has a whole bunch of places that you can go and you can hang out and you can meet new students. So this includes the Cove. The Cove I like to think of as like a lounge place, but there's also really good food there. I recommend the quesadillas and the smoothies, they're really good. But there's a lot of students that are always in the Cove and either studying, having a conversation. The Cove is also, there's also open mic nights. So there's a lot of different events always happening there. So it's a really good place to hang out, meet new people, and get involved in some of the activities going on around campus. There's also the living room. In the living room, there's pirate bowls, so you can grab a smoothie bowl. And it's also a really nice place to just hang out. Like I said, do homework, meet new people. That's another place that always has a lot of students just relaxing and in between classes. Another good place that I like to go to is also the library or Dunkin' Donuts. You can go there, grab a coffee in between your classes, or the library just to relax and study for a little bit. There's a lot of good places, even in the academic buildings. There's in Jubilee Hall, there's a little bit of like a lounge space with like a cafeteria. You can also grab a coffee. There's a lot of places on campus that you can just stop in and just relax for a few seconds before you have to go to your next class. Getting a parking pass, you can reach out to parking services, but there's also a little chiclet on your PirateNet page, and it's called New Park. And through this, you can pick a parking pass that you would like. You can select either per semester or for the whole academic year, so fall and spring. And I believe there's also one for fall, spring, and summer as well. So going through that makes it a really simple process. But if you do ever have any issues getting a parking pass, you can always reach out to parking services, and they'll be more than happy to help you. And it's just your license plate, so there's no little tag. It's just they scan your license plate when you go through, when you enter the university, and that's your parking pass.
Thank you, Kyla. And I'm actually going to come back to you for a follow-up question. I've been told that there's a difference between the different floors in the libraries in terms of one's more social and one's more quiet. So where would I go if I wanted to hang out with friends in the library, and where would I go if I really wanted to a quiet place to study?
Yes, that is true. So the main floor of the library, where Dunkin' Donuts is also located, is more of a floor that you can talk on and you can socialize, and there really is no limit for the volume. A lot of people are having conversations there. But if you do have like a final or a midterm coming up, or you have a really important test, I highly recommend going to the 3rd and 4th floor of the library. Those are completely silent floors, and you can literally hear a pen drop when you're on those floors. So if you do need to really do some focus and studying on a specific material, I recommend the 3rd and 4th floor. Also on the 3rd and 4th floor are study rooms, and you're able to, with a friend, you have to have at least 2 people. You can get a study room with, and it's completely silent, and you can have it for about 6 hours, I believe. And sorry, one last thing I want to mention about the library is during midterms and finals week, the library is open 24 hours. So you can go into the library at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and study if you need to. And it's a really great resource to have if you need a quiet place to go while you're studying for those midterms and finals.
Thank you, Kyla. Okay, Anne-Marie, we have a question about the Buccino Leadership Institute. What has been your experience in being a part of that program?
So like I said, the Buccino Leadership Institute is the reason why I'm at Seton Hall. There's so many great opportunities from this program. I've received one-on-one leadership coaching. We take leadership development tests. We'll do Myers-Briggs. We have DISC assessments. We also are interdisciplinary. And when I say that, it means we represent we represent 7 different schools on campus, and with that, we all meet together and we do programs together and we do team projects together, and the program is developed around you. So freshman year you start off and it's learning how to lead yourself, and then sophomore year comes around and you learn how to lead others. And we do, Mike Reuter, who is one of our associate directors, he actually just retired. He always says leadership is like driving a car. You can't just learn from reading the books. You actually have to go out in there and practice. So it's a lot of hands-on, opportunity-based leadership, and it's really a great opportunity. And if you didn't have the opportunity to apply for it as an incoming freshman, you will have the opportunity to apply again as an incoming sophomore. We have spots that tend to open up there. And so if you have other questions about it, you can reach out to our director, Dr. Brian Price. He's really great. And so it's definitely been an awesome opportunity. And it's definitely something that has really made my experience on campus super unique.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Okay, Phil, we have some students looking for some advice on how to make friends.
Yeah, sure. So when I came to Seton Hall, I didn't know anybody. I'm out of state, so I didn't like have anyone from high school I was coming here with. I came here completely by myself. And just the biggest advice I could give, like on making friends and just like making like meaningful connections with people, is to keep an open mind. Like I've gone to a lot of clubs and a lot of like things on campus, meetings, like SAB events, stuff that I probably don't think I ever would have done. But going there was like, excuse me, was like some of the best decisions I ever made. Like I've met some of the best people, and it's just cool to meet people from all different sorts of groups and clubs and organizations on campus. But yeah, that's just my main thing. Just keep an open mind. Try to sit down and talk to as many people as you can. You know, like I've met people in the library that like I just was sitting next to them doing some homework, and just turn out like you hang out with them, you go to Dunkin' or something. So yeah, just try to keep an open mind, and you only have one undergraduate experience, so I would just try to make it the best you can.
Thank you, Phil. So before we wrap up today, I actually have a question for each of you, and we'll start with Miles. Miles, what is your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
So for me, my favorite tradition is green season. If you ask anybody that's on campus, we all know what it is. So it's right after the very, very long months of winter, and you finally get that first 70-degree weather outside. Everybody goes on the green, and it is the place to be on campus. So you'll have people with beach towels. I'm talking about hundreds of people with beach towels, speaker phones. They'll have football, baseball, they'll have their frisbees throwing. And it's just really good time. It's all good vibes, and everybody's just there to have a good time. And it's finally warm outside, and so people are taking advantage of it.
Thank you, Miles. Anne-Marie, I'm going to go to you now. What is your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
I got my all-time favorite tradition is definitely Christmas at the Hall. We are said to be #1 in the nation for Christmas celebration, and I love our Christmas spirit. And it's super fun. We have a huge tree lighting ceremony every year. And then my other favorite tradition is chicken tenders in the calf on Wednesdays. You can't go wrong.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Kyla, how about you? What's your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
Sure. So when, like Miles said, once it starts to get warm out, even when it's not warm out during midterms and finals, Seton Hall will bring dogs on campus. That is my all-time favorite thing because you get to spend some time with dogs. And if you live on campus and you do have pets at home and you don't get to see them that often, it's a really great time to get to see them. And when it's warm out, they'll bring them out on the green. And then in like the winter months, it'll be either in the library or in the living room.
Thank you, Kyla. And Phil, what about you? What's your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
I would say my favorite tradition at Seton Hall is probably like the day before the first basketball game, just because it's such like a good environment. Everyone's hype, everyone's ready for a good season. And it's a big I feel like it's a big camaraderie thing. Like there's no one who isn't a Seton Hall basketball fan. It's not like a Mets or Yankees thing. Like everyone's in it together. Everyone's like ready for the season. Everyone's talking about like what they're doing before the game, like how they get in there. So I just, yeah, that's definitely my #1.
Thank you, Phil. And thank you to all our panelists. That's all the time we have for today. So if we didn't get to your question, we'll be adding them to a frequently asked questions page on the Prior to Adventure website, but we also encourage you to ask your PA throughout Prior to Adventure today. Your next session will be meeting with your PA and first year advisor, which you can join by clicking on the Join tab that you were sent in your SHU email in Microsoft Teams. So thank you to everyone, and we hope you have a great day.